Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination thrive. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, we go to let pop culture lair. Calm down and get your feet again at the Sci-Fi Center. We got almost everything a geek could want at the Sci-Fi Center. You name it, we got it. Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and everything in between at the Sci-Fi Center.
Happy Wednesday. 19 minutes left in the Wednesday. Watching AEW on one screen, waiting for Brad on the other screen. I've already pretty much given, like I said, I gave my immediate reactions this afternoon. But welcome to another Midnight Express. As soon as he gets here, we'll be going over, the trailer again and a little bit more detail than I did today. Today, I just gave you like 5-6 minutes. I watched it while I was on the air, so I wanted to give you my immediate reactions. It's intense for those of you who have not seen it, so that's going to be the main thing. But we will be talking about other pop culture things that you guys bring up for the next hour or so. The show, as usual, is brought to you by the Sci-Fi Center. The commercial you just saw there, where you can always get your geek a gift, whether you are local or a tourist or just online. You can visit the store. All that stuff is in the description. How is everyone doing tonight? I can see Larry is here. What's going on, Larry? How you doing? And there's the duck. I can't see the emojis, but he's got the he's a member, so he gets the I think he gets the geek emoji with the one with the crown. So that's kind of cool. Let me see what it looks like on my end. I never get a chance to look at these things on my end because I'm always. Yep. Yeah. No, it's me and my my Shazam shirt. I love that logo. All right. I'm afraid to ask, Clint. I'm afraid to ask. Let's see. Yeah, I'm relaxing after a hard day of not relaxing, but you know what? That's the way it goes. Hello, Ozzy. How are you doing? Let's see. How you doing, Larry? I guess you and Clint are having a conversation. So, wanted to wait before we went and got the trailer going again because I haven't heard what Brad has to say about it. I know he was pretty excited. He got up early to watch it, but he's also in a 3-hour time difference than me, so I just didn't feel like doing another 7 o'clock. I am a creature of habit when it comes to my sleeping patterns. So if they're disrupted even by a couple of minutes, it fucks up my whole day. So, and like I said, I did that with Superman, the Superman trailer, and I said, right there and then. As much fun as that was doing that, I'm like, nah, we're not doing that again. So, but I got it all queued up and ready. Going. Let's see. Are you coming? To make sure. All right, looks like he's on his way in. So, like I said, I'll just buy myself some time. Daredevil should have stayed with Netflix. Now, Azteca. Did you watch? You please tell me you saw that trailer, or you haven't seen that trailer. If you're saying that, there's no disinformation about that at all. That trailer was fucking disturbing. Dude, the compound fractures with the bones coming through the skin like that on the elbow just made me want to grab. Oh no, I'm sorry, Azteca. Let me, Azteca. Did you watch the trailer? That's a fair question to ask you if you haven't watched that trailer. Because if you watch that trailer, I don't know. I'm surprised Disney's letting them do this. I'm pleasantly surprised Disney is letting them do this because that trailer was fucking violent. And I loved every minute of it. And the intensity of them just sitting there across the table. Like I said, if you have not seen 1995's Heat, it's one of the best crime dramas ever done. It's a Michael Mann film, one of my favorite directors. And there's a scene at the coffee shop where Al Pacino, who's a cop, in the L.A. robbery homicide division, and Robert De Niro's character Neil, who is a burglar. He is a bank robber who's been in and out of prison. And they know who each other are. They know that one's out to get him, the other one's out, to stop him from doing scores. And they just have this moment to where they're sitting there, having coffee, talking to each other about things. And it was just one of the most intense and brilliant scenes that Michael Mann's ever done. And when you see this trailer, it opens up the same exact way, and I really love it. So let's see. All right, so those are the characters I didn't want Disney to get their hands on, but unfortunately it's done. All right, Azteca. Don't be fooled by the blood and the language. The shoehorned aspect is whacked. It's unfortunately will be the same with X-Men and Ghost Rider and Blade. Oh, I mean, I don't agree. I think that this is coming from somebody who loved the X-Men movies. They're a little bit dated. I don't think they can harm X-Men at all. I think they can, bring X-Men into this modern era. Blade, I don't care about. Ghost Rider was goofy. So I don't think it can hurt any of those characters, to be honest with you. And I don't think that they're going to hurt Daredevil at all. I was already convinced, but after seeing the trailer today, I'm all in. I'm all in. I don't think you're going to see, and I think what people haven't realized lately is that even Marvel and Disney have understood that they can't do things the way they were doing them before and still maintain the consistency with their audience, because your audience grows with you, but they also grow up. The same cartoonish shit that you might have been able to get away 14, 15, 16 years ago is not going to work even for those same people that were with you at the beginning. So no, I think Daredevil is going to be just fine. That's in my opinion. All right, the only character I really don't want Disney to get their hands on is Miles Morales, because I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary for them to do that. And if I was a stockholder in Sony, I would probably be looking for your head if you did. Everything else I'm fine. Like Fantastic Four, I'm looking for their version of Fantastic Four. I mean, that's just me. Those characters are better off on their own. I know Disney wanted them all back and just like it, but they need to have these out of their main. Well, listen, just because something happens in the Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't mean it's happening in the great big ball of wax. There are things on Daredevil. I don't see Daredevil venturing that much into Doomsday and all that, because it's not the level of character he is. It's not like Spider-Man where he goes back and forth with cosmic, team ups and stuff. Daredevil does not do that. I think you could have a full-on Daredevil story and never have to deal. You might have to deal with the ramifications of universes colliding and all that, but I don't see Daredevil as being a major part of that. I don't think you have anything to worry about that there. Yeah, I could. A mini series, not a full on show, season after season. A mini series. I need them to do a better job than they did with. I did not like the Netflix. I didn't like pretty much. The only thing I liked about the Netflix Elektra was the actress. I did not like the way she was portrayed. I didn't like the story. So I think that that's one character they can definitely do a improvement on. Sci-fi. Did you like the Daredevil episode? Yes, I did. It wasn't perfect, like I explained it the other day when we had Brad. Brad was here. I thought that it towards the middle and end, intermixed with the brilliance that was that show, there was some clutter and a lot of characters I just did not need to see and took up airtime. I didn't the whole Defender thing. I didn't need any of that. I didn't need any of that. When it was Daredevil and it was a consolidated him, Punisher, him, those people that were in his tight inner circle, the show thrived. But there were certain instances where there were things added to the show that I just didn't think need to be there. And I do hope Marvel Studios recognizes that we don't need a whole bunch of whole family reunion from the Netflix show. Give me Daredevil, give me Punisher, give me Karen, Foggy, and Elektra. And even those in measured order, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure. Alien Earth. I still got a few months. Alien Earth is what? When does that premiere? Does that premiere in April? When does Alien Earth hit? Alien. I got so many premieres and shit in my head. Oh, come on, dude. When? Do we have an exact date for Alien Earth? Hold on. August. Oh, we got August. You got a long time. Actually, no, it's not August. August was the teaser. So no, I don't have a date for an exact date here. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know when we would like. If I knew what date it was actually releasing on, then I could tell you. But like I said, even with Daredevil could have gone another month without a trailer, and it would have been fine with me because it's not a movie; it's a TV show. So does Fantastic Four or Thunderbolts trailer premiere at the Super Bowl? Maybe the subtitle for Thunderbolts gets revealed. I don't think Thunderbolts is going to have a subtitle. Fantastic Four, I definitely think is going to. Like I said, I would bet a lot. Could end up being wrong, but I would bet a lot that Fantastic Four it has a Super Bowl, and I also think Superman is going to have a full trailer as well on those same days, or either they'll do it. They're going to do it on the day. They may not do it in the Super Bowl, but they'll do it. They'll drop something on some of their channels, and it'll be on YouTube. But I do think that you will be getting trailers, full real trailers from both Fantastic Four and Superman on both those days. Taika Waititi. Okay, then now you're just being hyperbolic. Stop it. By the way, Taika Waititi doesn't always do slapstick and comedy and goofy stuff. Go watch Jojo Rabbit, the one he won Oscar. He can do all different things. You got to realize a lot of these people do what's asked of them within the universe that they're in too. So, William Luck, William Electra actress isn't another show. They could recast her, or a miniseries could be like, Marvel could also recast her too. I don't think she was so significant in that show that she can't be recasted. I like the actor, but that's about the only thing I liked about the character. Not if the story calls for Blade to be there, then no, I wouldn't oppose that at all. If the story calls for him being there, but I don't think, especially if it's going to be Mahershala Ali, it will not be Wesley Snipes that does it. I don't know if that's exactly where they want to put him. They could put him there as a cameo. I still think that the first time you see Mahershala Ali's Blade should be in a Doctor Strange movie. I've always thought that. I've never been on board with him getting a movie right out of the chute because I don't think anybody cares about that character enough to make it to what it potential could be. And people always throw the Guardians of the Galaxy at me, but I'm like, we're not at that phase in Marvel where you can just do that. And plus, you're underserving the character if you're going to do that. He belongs in a Doctor Doom or Doctor Strange movie. I mean, he is a Doctor Strange character for all intents and purposes. His best stories have come alongside Doctor Strange, so that's where he needs to be. That's a natural fit. Speaking of seagulls, I don't know. We've been on the air for 16 minutes. He told me he'd be up in a second. Have I seen George A. Romero's Resident? No, I have not. Wow, I did not even know that there was one. See, I'm behind on a lot of stuff. Yeah, okay. You know what? For what? That is some nonsense. Let's see. I did not like Iron Fist. I thought Iron Fist was boring. Everybody tells me, including Brad, well, dude, only been a season. Two. I mean, you know what? I didn't need a season 2 after seeing that. This version of the Thunderbolts doesn't have anything to do with him, though. So I don't think you'll see Norman in the third. I think you'll see Norman in Spider-Man 4, but I don't think you'll see him in Thunderbolts. Yeah. I'm just they're going to. It's just they should have done it. We already had a long discussion of when they should have done it, but yes, they will definitely recast it. I'm all for it. All right, so William, give them the knife hand, the not so tough foolish again. Okay, they might do it again. Even Marvel Zombies, that's a you can still have it has to be something to where it is a pre-existing supernatural setting. And Marvel Zombies, you're talking about the cartoon, but once he makes if it were me, he would be featured prominently in the next Doctor Strange movie. I mean, you give him everything he needs to thrive as a character within a movie that's not necessarily him. He doesn't have to carry the movie, but he can figure prominently in it, and then you gauge the reaction, and then you do a Blade movie. After you catered them and transformed them into what you need. Were you into the arcade thing? Yes, I was. Yes, I was. I loved video games in the arcade. It was fun. It was a communal event, hanging out with your friends, playing Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, all those games in there. You know, I would put 1 quarter in, and I could go all the way to the end. And back then you could get like a perfect score, and you got other plays. I would stay there and play other people. We would beat the hell out of each other in the game. So it's a lot of fun. Um, that kind of went away when, like I said, the home systems started to become, you know, all your Genesis and Nintendos and all the stuff that was happening in PlayStation later on. So yeah, I missed the arcades. So arcades were fun. A lot of the arcades I went to were in movie theaters too. So William, have you watched the show Spider-Man Unlimited? It never gets brought up. It's the most I watched a little bit of that, but not very much. Somebody else was around me was watching it, but no, I have not watched it like in that sense. No. Yeah, I remember the ad campaign that went around to Carnage. Maybe. I hope not. Be honest with you, I like her as a character. I don't need a show, not yet. I would let this show. I would let Daredevil go 2 seasons, and let's see how that goes before we go into those realms. Yeah, yeah, arcades were cool because, like I said, that's literally how just how he just describes it. You could just be playing a game on your own, right? And then some fool walks up, throws his quarter in, and joins the game. And now you got something going. And like I said, I met some really cool people that way because it's that random. Wow, it's just now notifying people that I'm on the air. I've been on the air for 21 minutes. That is sad. It's fucking StreamYard. But no, I've met some really cool people. You know, that way. You be playing Street Fighter or you be playing whatever. Contra. Oh man, back in the day when I was a kid, Contra, you could all the games where you could duel up, you either fought each other or you partnered up. Remember Double Dragon? Double Dragon was, like I said, I know it's low tech now, but Double Dragon, it didn't matter whatever game, whatever you think, you meet some guy for the gal or whatever for the very first time playing, and then just standing around once you got eliminated or beat whatever, or you could just sometimes I would go to the arcade just to watch other people play because they were into it, man. I mean, they were fucking tearing up the, making all that noise, you know, hitting the joystick. I mean, you could, shaking the shit. I mean, it was fun to watch. Yeah, our arcades were cool, and it has what I call, like I said, those random encounters. You have the thing that people are coming to see, and you just never know who you're going to meet there. That's why I love those kind of things. There are some arcades still around. A lot of people are networking on games and everything else, so it's not as big as they used to be. But I'd like to see those make a comeback. Yeah, I remember that place. I used to live in Riverside. I used to go to Corona too. I don't think they're going to do that. I think Black Panther is one of their cinematic things that they're going to keep. Frogger fourth wasn't hard to beat. It was just the damn frog. You had to get the frog across the river. River Raid was hard to beat because the game would speed up. And those are the ones that were really like, as you got better, the game could speed up. It's like, okay, we haven't gotten enough of your money, so the game would speed up and you'd die. But yeah. I remember Primal Rage, you're fighting, the dinosaurs were fighting each other. Yep. If there's anyone who fits in this world, make a cameo in Marvel Show Born Again, like Val. Well, Val, because she's intertwined within the government structure that he could be called on to sue. I mean, things like that. Sam, I could see it, but I don't. The thing you guys got to realize about Daredevil is that he's very local, more so than Spider-Man ever was. Daredevil is very local. He doesn't venture out of his area of operations as much as some other superheroes do. So he wouldn't cross paths with people that are not within that structure. He's in New York. Hell's Kitchen is in New York. Kingpin is in New York. Spider-Man, if you came across him, is in New York. There are certain things, but not just New York, but he's in the hood. Hell's Kitchen's a ghetto. So it's not like he's, Daredevil, even though he does cross over. Primarily, Daredevil he's really tied to his area of operations. Let's see. Brad said a second 18 minutes ago. So, yeah, you said, yeah, okay. I'll just wait for you to out yourself. There's a few places popping up now in California, and they focus on throwback style arcade room. They got some here in Vegas too, I understand. So I just haven't had a chance to. I'm past that phase. I loved them growing up as a kid. But yeah, I was like I said, I love places where, like I said, people like Fourth said, people you could just come together without having to know anybody. No qualifications of status, no qualifications of social groups, not even race. Everybody hung out at the arcade. Mexicans, black folks, Chinese, Korean, we all hung out at the arcade, and all it was next up. We didn't care about anything else. We were kids, and a lot of times, even though you might be going to school with those people that are that are at the liquor store playing that arcade game or at the arcade game, you don't really notice some people until you play that video game with them and then you recognize them again because they stand out in the crowd. So yeah, we did a lot of that stuff. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Enjoy those memberships, you guys. I am definitely going to do this. We are going to do 2 different streams over the next couple of days. One of them is going to be a Patreon exclusive, and the other one is going to be a member exclusive. So you'll get a different notification from the Patreon one because it'll be in the Patreon mailbox, and then you'll just click that link, and then we'll have we'll do some stuff there. And the other one will come. It won't be coming from StreamYard, even because I think for the YouTube memberships, I have to do it from the YouTube studios, so you get a different notification. But keep an eye on that. We'll have we'll have a show and tell type of situation where, people want to, come and just talk about stuff that they got, show their collection, maybe, artwork, stuff like that. That'll probably be the YouTube one. Just, it'll be a member driven show, but I have not done any YouTube membership shows, and I really want to start doing those. I would go with Johnny Blaze, Zarathos, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Yeah, man. Everybody showed up to the arcade. Everybody showed up to the arcade. And it didn't matter. Listen, sometimes you would go to certain places that had certain video games, and there'd be like 20 people that you couldn't play that game. So you'd have to walk down to the other corner store, and you had to keep going till you found the place that had the game, especially when it was Mortal Kombat, Mortal and Street Fighter. Those 2 games, there were some places that had 3 or 4 of those, and they would all be filled, there's all kinds of. I mean, I can't remember all the games we used to play. The primary ones though that got us going were Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 2, and there were certain things you could do with the joystick to get certain characters. Remember that? Remember how you had to get Reptile? I think Reptile was you had to do some crazy shit, and you had the moon. There would be images that come. There was all kinds of crazy stuff that that we were playing. But like I said, win or lose, we were all together. We were having fun, man. And that's the kind of thing. That's really fun when it came to arcades. So I do hope they come back. I hope record stores continue to make a comeback. I hope bookstores other than Barnes and Noble continue to make, because like I said, those gathering places are very important for human development and peer development. And it breaks down, a lot of when we have the internet, we decide who you want to talk to. We block who we don't want to talk to or don't want to see. When there's a central thing that we're all interested in and you have to come there for it, it breaks down those walls, and there's a commonality. But like I said, I don't know how many people I used to meet at the Borders over here on Decatur and Sahara, one of the best bookstores I ever went into. I was always meeting people, and not just that, the people behind the counter in certain sections saw me coming and they knew what I was into, and we would draw up a conversation that way. I mean, one guy knew I was in the heavy metal magazine, and there was not too many places that were selling it at the time. He would always hold it for me. Guess what? I go over to the science fiction section, and I see some guy in there that's got a stack of books that I've already, have, or a graphic novel that I've already read. And right there's a conversation to be had. So I hope those things come back. But yeah, arcades was part of that world. Let's see where I don't know what's going on with Brad tonight or this morning. Let's see. I love going to the arcade. One of the arcades I actually had 90s VR. See, that was coming along later for me. We didn't have the VR stuff. Some of the arcades did have it, but that was after I was growing, moving on, starting to run a business. I didn't have as much time to do it. All right. So I'm figuring, yeah, okay. That I figured you were doing something crazy. The whole time. I
Well, of
figured
course I
it took you
would
the whole
to make.
20 minutes to get that name tag right there.
Well, I mean, of course. I mean, what else do you expect from me? Because above all else, I'm a really good lawyer.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so I was a little bit slowed down coming on tonight, guys. I do apologize.
All right, guys. So, well, I've already given my Let's go ahead and watch it. We'll go ahead and watch it. We're getting demonetized anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Are we gonna pull it up like on
Yeah,
screen?
I already have it up.
Okay, cool.
I already have it, but I don't have it up. Hold on.
Well, in that case, I am gonna like give a better view for a moment here. So
let's see. Here we go.
Actually, you know what? Yeah. I'll put it back down once.
Yeah, you're right, Brad. You seem.
Like, somebody's gonna screenshot this. I just know it.
Hold on, let me get this going.
I mean, short answer. I loved this trailer when I saw it this morning. I will actually. I literally my alarm clock went off. I literally because I'm like William. It's like I don't my day generally starts. I'm not much of a morning person, so and I have the benefit like what I do. It's like I do a lot of work to me like. Clacking away at night and things like that. So I woke up like literally like 5 minutes before the trailer dropped this morning. So
I made no such allowances. So was just fine. All right, here we go.
Oh, already love it.
Thank you for finding the time. I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again. A lot of time has passed. By the look of it, you've come up in the world.
I could say the same about you.
The mayor serves his city. I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me? I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
Oh, that shot there.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature. Hating the power it has over us.
This city can't go unchecked.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken. Chaos must reign.
Am I putting the hatchet down?
This is not going to end well there.
I was raised to believe in grace. But I was also raised to believe in retribution.
There goes our 14 cents for the show that we could have earned, but felt it was necessary. Like I said, I didn't need that trailer. I was already in.
I was too, but I mean, it didn't hurt. It certainly didn't hurt.
Yeah. For those of you who are new to the show and are going to be new to Daredevil, but Brad, explain your get up. So, because otherwise people are going to be like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
Oh, I mean, well, this is this is what I was on for Halloween. I was Daredevil, in the ninja suit with the because he's got the black suit, with the mask that covers his eyes in season 1 and also in season 3, and that stems from what started in the trial of the Incredible Hulk. That was the first time Daredevil was shown this way. And then they worked in the comics later, and then eventually that made out the Netflix show. So I thought, okay, it'd be a good Halloween costume. I came on the show and a couple other streams back in October like this, and I thought, tonight's as good a night as any to bring the old getup back.
All right. So, and by the way, Daredevil is a ninja.
Yes,
Daredevil is a ninja. he's a fully trained ninja.
As if that trailer didn't make that clear.
Yeah, but in the sense, as far as what how Marvel Comics describes ninjas. Other than being things that Wolverine kills in large numbers, Daredevil is a ninja. Stick was a Stick. he's far more dangerous than a ninja because of his powers.
Mhm.
Daredevil, for like I said, a lot of people I was talking to today all know of Daredevil, but they don't know the details of Daredevil. And I've been turning a lot of people on to Daredevil for the first time. They know who he is. They're not brand new to the character and the concept, but they haven't watched the Netflix show. They haven't read the comics, and I'm like, those are the people I love to run into.
Yeah,
Nothing against the people who are into all that stuff and are already in, but you never get another first chance to put somebody onto something for the very first time.
Well, that's what nerds do too. It's like we do is like we like something we want to share with people who aren't, who haven't taken that plunge yet. So
Yeah, especially as a retailer, it's key that I'm able to do that because we're growing our base. We're not just in my store. We're growing the fandom in a way that I know the character and I know exactly where to get him started. I mean, if you come into my place and I'm interested in Daredevil, where do I start? I'm already ready. I literally have it sitting there for you in the As Seen on TV section. We're starting with Frank Miller's run. Which is
good choice.
yeah, which is basically, be honest with you, I know a lot of old school guys might not want to hear this. The character for me doesn't exist before his run. I think his run started at what, was it 131? Was when his run started.
It was early '80s when he started, wasn't it?
It was 1980.
I
His
mean, he made Daredevil Catholic too. I mean, he, like a lot of the core
he
traits.
made Daredevil sellable. That's what he did.
Yeah, a lot of like the core traits we associate with Daredevil, comics wise, and and then of course it's made its way into subsequent adaptations these days. We definitely tend to. I mean, Stan Lee created the character, but it's fair to say I think Frank Miller kind of he molded Daredevil into the image we think of him as today.
All right, he started, his last one was 191, but he came back. But I believe his first one was on Daredevil.
He wrote Daredevil Born Again, right?
Not 168. 168. Yeah, he did Daredevil Born Again. So he did 168, which was in 1981, and that was also actually no, I'm sorry. He bought Elektra in issue 168. His first issue was in 158. 158.
Well, and that's the thing that's going to be interesting for me. I mean, that trailer. I mean, guys want my quick reaction? That trailer kicked ass. I was like William was like, I didn't need a trailer, especially once we heard the news that they were that Marvel was like they had hit the brakes and said we're going to guide this back to what we did on Netflix, with the first 3 seasons of the show. And I think
they own it now. I mean, like I said, they own it. It's theirs. All that stuff is theirs. It doesn't belong to Netflix.
I think that trailer made clear this is, for all intents and purposes, Daredevil season 4. I mean, that's
technically it is. They're not going to call it that, but exactly. it is. I mean, it's a direct continuation. They're sitting there talking about the shit that they did in Netflix.
Yeah, not just him and Kingpin, but also him and Punisher too.
Yeah, and you see, I think it's a 5-year time gap in between the last thing. So
yeah, real world time gap, pretty much.
Yeah, the scene, like I said, if you haven't read the comics, the fact that they know there's 2 characters or 4 characters, Norman Osborn and Peter Parker knowing each other's secret identity added to the chess game, and when Kingpin found out who Daredevil was, that chess game began, and it continues here. And it frustrates the shit out of Kingpin is because there's nothing he can do with that information. There's nothing he can do with that information. And Daredevil knowing that he knows, and that it actually makes things worse for Kingpin because there's nothing. Matt Murdock never really had anything to lose.
Yeah, well, and you gotta go back to the what was I saying a second ago with the trailer? Yeah, like I said, it's accounting for like the real world time gap. The thing also I enjoy too. I mean, I don't think it's controversial to say that Matt's appearance on She-Hulk was not the shining.
The show was lame. The show was lame.
It was not one of his highlight moments, but you saw like that collection of the Daredevil masks in that one snippet of the trailer, and it had the yellow mask, which he wore the yellow suit on She-Hulk. And my own feelings on the show notwithstanding, that's something I really do appreciate. Just in general, with big with these big franchises, big big comic book franchises doing. We saw this also in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Even for She-Hulk being ill received, they're not trying to retcon that or ignore that
They
or
should. They
but
should.
they're not they're not going out of their way to say. I mean, uh, I've come of the opinion in the last 7-8 years or is that the totality of a given character is when it comes to Marvel DC, the totality of their history cinematically on TV, for better or worse, that's part of their legacy. And
Yeah, but
you
you
don't
don't
have
want She-Hulk to be part of that
I'm not
legacy.
saying you make it like actively make it a building block, but
I would retcon it.
but well, I mean, when that would be the first retcon the MCU's, the first big retcon they've
There
done.
are going to be a bunch of them. Secret Wars is literally set up for them to retcon the things that they don't want going forward. I would retcon the shit out of She-Hulk. I would retcon. I would give them another shot, but what they went through didn't exist. I would make like you never banged She-Hulk.
You're preaching to the choir about She-Hulk not being one of their proudest moments. But again, like I said, it reminded me a bit of a Spider-Man: No Way Home with Andrew Garfield's as Peter 2 and that his role in it. Not only again, Amazing Spider-Man 2, not the most liked Spider-Man movie, to say the least, but not only does it not it not only doesn't ignore that, it actively builds on Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 was successful, though. That's the thing that people forget. It was very successful. But once again, you had the MCU going and doing its thing. It was released in the same year that Avengers came out. I think that when people try to view successes and wins back in that era, they're doing it through one lens. And they're not really
50%.
Because I listen, I thought Amazing Spider-Man 1 was better than Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I didn't think it was awful. And I think had they not made that deal with Marvel, you would have gotten Amazing Spider-Man 3 and it would have been fine,
Still might get that now, post No Way Home.
Who knows? Or actually post Secret War. I don't think No Way Home is going to have as much of a factor as Secret Wars will. Because of the fact that you're bringing a lot of these people back, but you also Secret Wars could also leave you with several timelines. Like instead of having a bunch of them, you have 1, 2, or 3 where they can always go back and forth if they want to. But I think, like I said, when it comes to Marvel, they don't use the multiverse that way.
Yeah, wait a minute. Did you just say that a major studio can use multiple iterations and timelines of a discarded comic book properties?
Yeah, but Marvel doesn't do that though. Marvel generally doesn't.
You guys know what I'm getting at there.
Marvel uses this as a means to get to a place where DC it's always been
in their DNA,
multiple place. So yeah.
But anyway, that's just kind of like a little thing I took away from the trailers. Again, the fact that they're not. Again, I'm not encouraging them to make She-Hulk his to actively make that a building block in the way that Amazing Spider-Man 2 was in No Way Home. They're not running from it. So
they should sprint. They should trip over their own dicks to get away from this story. It was horrible. It was horrible.
I don't disagree at all.
We got Secret Wars. It never happened. There you go. It just never happened.
Well, that aside, okay, what else about this trailer? Also, by the way, the fight scenes are really cool. And I have to say, they're really reminiscent of something. Anybody take a guess? What they kind of remind? What the fight scene?
Every fight scene that's ever taken place inside of close quarters. That's what the fight scenes resemble.
That we're gonna get a really awesome one-shot fight scene in this. I would imagine. I mean, because they've made those. I remember when season 1 came out and the first one, just how groundbreaking, how much of just that alone was such a phenomenon within the talk about Daredevil when season 1 dropped. And
what season was the hallways? The hallway scene where he's just going through up and down in the basement and just beating people, and everywhere he turns, he's just whacking the shit out of people. It's like
that happens. Season 1 was the hall. Well, they're all hallways technically. Season 1 was just it was the hallway when he's rescuing the kids. Season 2. And that's when he has this costume on. Season 2, he has the horns, and that's when he has the chain tied or taped to his hand and the gun in the other.
That's the one. That's the one.
That's in the stairwell.
Yeah.
And then season 3, that was the one in the prison where he's not costumed at all.
Yeah, the second one is probably the one. I think I posted that somewhere too.
Yeah, I love those. That's such a stable Daredevil. I can't wait to see, because they get longer and more elaborate in each season. I just can't wait to see how they're going to just continue with that. And I mean, because you can't tell me that's not a mandate with this. That's we have to keep that's such a core of the show's identity that we have to.
Well, is it the same writers? Is everybody coming back to doing the same screenplays, or is this different? Because I mean, I would hope it would be, but
and I think also the same. I need to look this up, but I believe a lot of the same like stunt people and fight coordinators are also they weren't there.
That's really safe, by the way. You really don't want to, if you're going to be doing things like this, you probably really want the same people, because
I interviewed a while back Charlie's stunt his name is Chris Brewster. Chris, watching? What's going on, man? It wasn't about Daredevil, but he was he's done a lot of in the superhero genre. He was Daredevil, the martial arts double for the fight scenes. He was Captain America in the Winter Soldier, and I think one or two others. He was fight coordinator on Black Adam. He didn't work on Superman and Lois, but I did ask him a bit about that because he worked with Tyler Hoechlin on Teen Wolf. So he's got a really good he has a really good understanding of applying fight choreography to superhero series. So I have my total confidence in anything that man does. Other things with the trailer, that Daredevil, that Matt Murdock and Kingpin, face to face in that diner. I'm really looking forward to seeing that, because that's always a real kind of highlight. If we have like scenes like Superman and Lex Luthor in BVS, or Joker and Batman the Dark Knight, or Joker and Batman the Nightmare in ZSJL. Just those little those monologue moments, or those moments where the hero and the villain, they're just talking, they're just kind of like exchanging their philosophical mindset with each other. I find that is, to me, is like it's like that's a nice kind of like that's a nice seasoning to have great action scenes and great superpowers being integrated into it. That's seeing that brings it's so much of the human element that we're just seeing these guys as people in a diner.
It opens up perfectly.
Like
I said, it opens up just like the coffee scene in Heat.
Yeah,
and it just really it really sets the tone for the chess game that's going to be.
Yeah,
and it really is. It's a chess game. Yeah, there's violence involved, but it's a mental maneuvering.
This is going to be on Disney Plus, and how many limbs got snapped in that trailer?
Yeah, but see, there's other stuff on Disney Plus that's pretty violent, guys.
Because Disney owns so much, not Disney stuff now.
I mean,
I've gone on Disney Plus lately. I've seen things that you would never in a million years have thought would be like under Disney's umbrella.
Yeah, and I think they're getting away from Disney being like, I don't think you can make things just for a kids anymore. I think you have to have a full spectrum of not only a wider audience, but you have to have a larger spectrum of where that audience member that you meet is going to be in 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Do you want them to outgrow your project because it's too kiddie? Or do you want them to come along with you for the entirety, as long as you can have them, and then hand it down to their kids and be able to moderate what their kids see from there? I think you're going to see the same type of stuff on Disney Plus as you would see on any streamer. Now, Fox and Hulu and FXX and all those are going to be a little bit more, but within that family, I'm never going to be surprised to see things on Disney that are of this level, because, like I said, Disney in name used to be, it's kid friendly, but like I said, those kids grow up and kids are different these days.
Yeah, absolutely. What else about the trailer? I was going to point a minute ago, because, and this goes back to like kind of when you were talking to people in the store today about you were not necessarily like big Daredevil experts. The thing I'm going to find really interesting with kind of that segment of the audience going into this is the fact that the show is called Daredevil Born Again, which that's the title of a very well-known, very seminal Daredevil comic story. Interesting about that, though, is that, of course, Daredevil season 3 on Netflix, that was an adaptation of Daredevil Born Again. Had some modifications, of course, but it was the in essence,
a lot of modifications. It
didn't have Nuke. It didn't have Captain America. It didn't. But I mean, the spine of the story is still
Well, yeah, he's given up by the same. I mean, it's the same.
he's basically homeless in it too, like as
yeah,
in
and the same person causes it. So
yeah, it's a Daredevil versus Kingpin story. So and that of course now with going into this season, and I think it was I mentioned this on the Baka stream one time. I think it was Scott from DC Squadcast. Kind of he gave his thoughts on it too. Was the idea with the title this time? Of course, it's meant to be more figurative. It's not. I mean, I suppose they could be like taking elements of Born Again that weren't in season 3 and integrating them into this show. But I mean, the title coming after season 3 as an adaptation of Born Again, and with it, coming after the whole rights, thing with Netflix, kind of was kind of cleared.
well, hold on. There was no rights thing with Netflix.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is they had the moratorium. Like once all the shows ended, Marvel couldn't touch the characters for like 2 years.
No,
really?
No, they own the IP. Marvel dictates whenever they can use their characters.
But they couldn't. But that's the stipulation they had, and contractually is like once the shows ended on Netflix, Marvel couldn't put them in movies or show. That's why it was until No Way Home we didn't see Daredevil again at all.
You're gonna have to pull that up because when you own an IP, you give the permissions to what the other person, the gainee, can do, the licensee can do. I don't recall. I could be wrong. But the way I understand the way these things work, at no point in time, they didn't want to. Kevin Feige had to evolve to that position. Daredevil belongs to them. Once that show's over, that's I don't think there's a moratorium. You can't put a moratorium in something you own.
Well, I mean, even with that though, there was a de facto moratorium because it was so long before we saw him again with the No Way Home cameo, and then Echo and She-Hulk, and now with Born Again. But again, going back to what I was saying about the title, obviously it's meant to be more figurative in the sense it's Daredevil Born Again, in the sense of he's back now on his own show. It's like he's born again, in a thematic sense, in a spiritual sense. But it's not necessarily an adaptation of Born Again. Although again, I could see them working in elements or characters from Born Again that weren't in season 3. Going to this show, like I'd be like I said, Nuke is not in season 3. He could be in this. I don't know what else. Like what from Born Again comics wise that wasn't in season 3 could you see most like being applicable to Daredevil Born Again?
None. Here's why. I think that they chose the name Born Again is because he's not been Daredevil. Remember why did you give up being a vigilante?
Yeah, there's
that's to me, that's the title. I think that they used the title that's been used in Daredevil before because it's one of the most famous Daredevil stories ever told.
I mean, it's kind of like with Avengers: Age of Ultron. That wasn't an adaptation of the Age of Ultron story, but the title, the title. I mean, was good for selling an audience on a here's our new villain. And for for people in my line of work, I mean, that definitely was. I could see that lending itself well to SEO.
Yeah, what it was though is when you read Daredevil Born Again, it's not just those 4 or 5 issues. It's that entire time that happens after that too. Because even when Frank Miller left the book and came back in the 210s and 220s and did Born Again, after that dynamic between him and Daredevil stayed. Even when Ann Nocenti took over the book and John Romita Jr. took over the book, the ramifications of Born Again stayed throughout. So technically you could this is in the ramifications of it, but I do truly believe it's that this is him getting back to being he's reborn as Daredevil because he hasn't been doing it for years.
When you can even see that with the suit too, because the suit is definitely you could see that it's not it is an evolution of what we saw on Netflix. There you could see there are there is there's a degree of like modification to it, or the shade of red is somewhat different. So there's that aspect to it as well. Other thing too, they didn't really show him too much in the trailer, other than like about like one behind the from behind kind of snippet we're in a fight scene. But Bullseye is also back, and he's gonna be Bullseye proper now too. So
yeah, that like I said, there's 2 characters that I really need them to do better with this time around, Bullseye and Electrica. I hope, be honest with you, and I know it's a continuation. I just wish there was a way to retcon and undo that part of it, because that was the weak part of this entire series. Was that the way?
Was Elektra?
Yeah,
What's
and Bullseye.
Well, she with her, it's like, I mean, it's one half, and then you had her role as the villain in Defenders, but she'll be back. I mean, I have no doubt she'll be back.
Like I said, I wish we could forget about the whole Defenders thing. I don't know who made the decision to do that. That was fucking dumb, because it didn't fit. It didn't. You got to understand. That's one of the characters, and like I said, for a show that was as good as it was, they didn't understand Elektra, because if they truly understood Elektra in any iteration, they would not have done that. You can't understand the nature of her character and the nature of the relationship with her and Matt Murdock and do what they did with her. I think they knew her in name and the periphery, but I don't think they truly understood that character.
By the way, I just realized, if we do see Elodie Young as Elektra again, and I have no doubt we will, it's coming after we just saw Jennifer Garner back as Elektra. Who would have saw that coming?
Yeah, but they got to do better with Elektra this time around, because that was one of the things I did not like about the series. And I thought Bullseye, once again, those are the two characters that, if you're doing Daredevil, how they got Daredevil and the Punisher and certain elements so right and certain elements so wrong, I never figured it out.
Well, what did they not get? What did they not get right for you about Bullseye? Because I mean, they definitely got the Bullseye. The I throw things that I never miss element, and that'd be that. I don't know how anyone could have been unsatisfied with that side of him.
The whole relationship, and he's just different. If you read, I don't know, have you ever read his appearances? Did you ever read 181? That's to me.
So you're talking about the whole FBI agent kind of side?
Yeah, that was fucked. I'm like, dude, come on. But the thing about it is they took certain elements from that era of Daredevil and mastered them, and they did not do so with anything about Bullseye. Elektra was not the same. I mean, like I said, there's no way. It would be different if they were going out on the limb and doing everything completely derivative of nothing, but they literally adapted the tone of what Frank Miller was doing with each one of these characters. And I'm like, you're doing that, which is cool, but how did you not get it right with two of the most important characters of that era? So I hope this time around, if we do see Elektra again, they do a better job. If they do Bullseye again, they do a much better job. There's room for improvement with both.
I'm gonna call my shot and say we're probably gonna get an Elektra cameo in the show.
I think you're gonna get an Elektra run. I think you're gonna get an Elektra story.
Well, it's already agreed for season 2, but I'm talking about like this season. Do you think she'll have like a significant role? Yeah. So more than a cameo, and they're just not. I think she'll be used in the way of Typhoid Mary, who's another character that I would like to see done right, or done at all. She was on Iron Fist season 2, and that's season. Okay, guys, ignore season 1. Just go straight.
Okay, if you have to say ignore season 1, that's a problem. That Typhoid, no. Okay, yes, what the fuck was that? By the way,
Iron Fist season 2 is like one of the best.
Okay, that Typhoid. Did you read when she first came about? That was some of the best stuff Anna Nocenti did with the character. That was some of the best non-Miller stuff, because it was a conflict between her and Daredevil, because he was having shades of Elektra again. Fell in love with this lady. She's fucking psycho. I mean, psycho.
Well, and I don't think. Well, it is an actual condition she has.
She's schizophrenia.
Well, I think the official term is dissociative identity disorder.
Well, that's another thing. I did. That's they did that. They did that. Her actual condition, especially in the comics, she's a schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, just straight up. No. I don't even know if that term existed. She was, but like I said, there's just certain characters that I would like. I mean, Typhoid Mary would be a great character, not in Defenders. I don't even want Defenders to exist yet. Give it 2 years or so. Let's get this established and get this rolling. I don't want to see Defenders.
That's another thing. That's another thing I was going to add. No, I want my Iron Fist and Luke Cage team up again. Okay, but actually, kind of relating to that too. I mean, because this drops on March 4th. Now, this is without like theorizing about whether any hypothetical plans they have for the other Netflix character. I mean, Punisher, I think, is because he's in the show, he's a given. They're going to do something further with Punisher, other than him being on Daredevil again. But as far as like the other characters, what do you think is What do you think? Is it basically like, are they taking a wait and see on like how this season performs, or they already have plans for the other characters they just haven't announced? They're not going to announce till after
All
the
right.
shit drops.
What I think they are going to do, I don't think you're going to see these characters like that. I don't think you're going to see as many characters because when they were doing that at Netflix, they were creating and they thought they needed to create an infrastructure for him to exist in and coexist in and collaborate with. He has that in the MCU if they ever wanted to do that. So I don't see it happening. Now, if you're asking me if I want to see it happening, no. I don't have any disdain for those characters. I just thought it was forced. I thought it made the universe and that whole thing cluttered. I thought Daredevil was the universe. He was what was needed. And I thought the stories with him and his solitariness of his character were the best characters. I don't think when you're in the MCU, you basically, it took you so long just to get these group of characters to convince yourself that we want to work with these characters. I don't know if they ever feel the need to work with Iron Fist and all these other characters.
See, I'm going to disagree with you in there. It's like I think within I'm going to put my flag in this. It's like I'm going to hedge my bet, and I think within some time between when Daredevil Born Again season 1, because like I said, it's already been greenlit for season 2. Sometime between that drops,
it's a 3-year deal. They're going to do 3 seasons.
Oh hell yeah. Well, again, it was the crown jewel of Marvel Netflix. I mean, there's no disputing that whatsoever. But I'm going to hedge my bet and say like sometime between when it drops in March and San Diego Comic-Con, we're going to hear some news about the other Marvel Netflix characters who aren't Punisher. So I'm talking about Iron Fist and Jessica Jones.
Maybe Jessica Jones.
She's the one I could do without, actually, as far as
I could do without them all. I could do without them all, and I don't dislike these characters. I just thought that was one of the weaknesses of this whole thing. It became watered down with people that just didn't need to be interacting with certain people, and it just wasn't time for these characters. And like I said, I don't see them as having any need for those characters. You don't need those characters for it to make a strong Daredevil story. To be honest with you, need less of those characters to make a strong Daredevil. There's only certain elements that you need to make this really work. Now, later on down the line, maybe, I doubt it, but anything can happen. This happened, and we weren't thinking 3 years ago if you'd told me this was going to happen. Kevin Feige wasn't there. He has evolved, so he could evolve in your direction. None of them. Obviously Spider-Man would be Spider-Man, the Holland, obviously, because it's the one
they already met,
with already. Yeah. Listen, I know in comics, and I know it's natural to want to always cross over with him, and it's cool sometimes. The Sin Eater saga. There's just some times with Daredevil and them actually, especially when he needs his counsel as a lawyer. But
which he did in the last movie.
Yeah, but the type of things that I think they're gonna have Tom Holland Spider-Man doing. I don't know if they mix a gel with you're seeing in this trailer. I mean, they know each other. They're already in the same universe. They're already in the same city. So we already have that. But let's measure it. You know what I mean? It's not,
also, you're also coming off of the whole amnesia spell at the end of No Way Home. So it's, which
will take 2 seconons for Matt Murdock to be like, I can recognize that heartbeat.
Well, I get that, but I mean, you have to establish them being, him being close enough to hear that heartbeat. So there has to be like, okay, something that brings them together again, because he has now,
Well, no, that didn't happen. Listen, they still know each other. He just doesn't know he's Spider-Man yet. But they have, if he's interacted with him as Spider-Man before, as Peter Parker, he'll be able to recognize him, just like Wolverine will be able to spell him. Wolverine will be like, I don't remember. Oh, you're Peter Parker. I remember that in Spider-Man versus Wolverine, where it takes Wolverine all of no seconds to sniff out Peter Parker, and he wasn't even looking for Peter Parker. It's just the way Wolverine's powers work. If there's a familiar scent that pops up, he's like, scents don't lie. That's Spider-Man. I'm like, well, fuck. Well, that's kind of useless. Well, you have the mask, but yeah, I really now there are some kind of like there's a fight that I would like to see that has nothing to do with Daredevil. It's Sabretooth. In the Mutant Massacre, he had a knockdown, drag-out battle with Sabretooth.
He was originally an Iron Fist villain, right?
Iron Fist number 14.
Yep.
Yeah, that's when he made his first appearance.
I'm telling you, right, just ignore Season 1.
Yeah, but that's a
Go.
problem, though. That's a problem. That's such a big marketing problem.
They fixed it. They fixed the show. Okay, okay, go back to
whatever.
go back.
But no, I think the show's going to do fine.
Yeah,
Wait before we bring these other people in. Like I said, Elektra makes sense. Elektra makes sense. I think what you could do with, if you're not going to do a proper Typhoid Mary, you could move Elektra into that role, because remember, she worked with the Kingpin, in and out of Kingpin. In the comics, she works. That's how they, she's hired by the Kingpin.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, speaking of Kingpin, I think it was Droga in the chat. He was asking, did D'Onofrio look thinner? I think he is
thinner.
Well, he said, I think he has said it's like, because he did actually put on the weight for the first 3 seasons. And he said, okay, because he's older now, and he's like, okay, I'm monitoring my health more carefully now. So he has dropped weight, and he's just to still maintain that Kingpin appearance. He is wearing a fat suit, and this is my understanding for Born Again.
I think he should really. He looks skinny in that trailer. I wish he would do I wish he would do like what Colin Farrell did. Because Kingpin is not a fat guy; he's muscle.
No, yeah. That's the misconception for anybody who's like kind of new to, who's like first discovering Kingpin. It's like, to the naked eye, he looks like he's fat. No, he's not fat. That dude's pure muscle.
He went hand in hand with Daredevil at one time. Now, granted, it was a despondent Daredevil who's all drunk and shit. But once the actual Daredevil came back and regained his identity, he beat the fuck out of Kingpin.
Yeah,
and then put him in a cage.
But Kingpin is like, I mean, he's basically a power lifter. I mean, that's where it's like
a sumo wrestler, but
exactly,
muscle.
Exactly, yeah. Where it's when he's like in his suit, or he's in like regular clothes, to the untrained eye, he would look like he's overweight, he's obese, but it's like, no, that is just solid muscle. That is he's just built up to an unheard of extent. So
yeah, but I think a lot of people, when you think of the Kingpin, you think of this huge thing like when Bill Sikowitz would draw him. But him being 300 pounds is not a big deal, because they're not going to be fighting each other. But you saw Kingpin, you saw his physical prowess. He can fight. He's very dangerous. He's taking on an armed guy with an axe or something that's coming at him. He's just tossing the shit out of him. So, I guess I'm going to enjoy this show.
Yeah,
listen, for what they were doing with Netflix. I thought what they did with Netflix was brilliant.
Yeah, like I said on their streams, it's like when they started the whole Marvel Netflix enterprise, I was a little bit trepidatious, because I mean, with a lot of those characters, particularly Daredevil and Iron Fist and Punisher, and pretty much everybody but Jessica Jones, and that's, I mean, that really does boil down to, I just wasn't familiar with the character at the time. And then, I liked season 1 of her show, and then she started, kind of lose me in Defenders, and then I just kind of dropped off with Jessica Jones after that. But, again, these were, all characters that I was really enamored with, but I was a little bit trepidatious, like, okay, this is like, they're just resource-wise, they're just getting the table scraps of what Marvel Studios is willing to invest in them, and with Daredevil season 1, I mean, that just completely killed any concern I had for that whatsoever. If anything, it looks like they've raised the budget with Born Again, not just with what they had to start with, because this was going to be 18 episodes initially, but also the fact that when they did the reworking, I mean, to quote John Hammond, they spared no expense. I mean, this looks like they have actively built upon the scale of the production values, and the fight choreography and the costumes. Everything looks like it is just beefed up from what they did on Netflix.
Well, yeah, now you're dealing with a higher budget show too.
Yeah, it's got to be. They added probably, I would venture to guess, they probably added a good like 10 to at least 20 million to what their baseline per season budget would have been.
Yeah, but it's got to be fun. And like I said, I just hope they improve. Like it wasn't a perfect show. I think we look at it in retrospect and think, look and see perfection. It was a great show, but there was light years.
It is
of improvement
for me. It is very much up there. It is neck and neck. It is on par for me. Like I've sung the praises of Superman and Lois on here very constantly. That's my bar for like live action DC TV shows. Daredevil is my bar for live action Marvel. So I'm very much going into this with tons of anticipation.
All right, live action Marvel. Ooh. That's tough, because it's not the same as anything Marvel.
Well, no, I'm talking about like television wise.
Yeah, even television wise, like a Loki. I don't know. Man, this, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if you can really, me personally, I don't think you can compare any of it to any, because they were so it's everything that they've done is so drastically different from anything else that they've ever done. So this would be just one of those things that would be kind of measured onto itself.
Okay.
Um,
And by the way, the other thing we didn't really get into is I'm really curious about is there's the one section in the trailer where it has Kingpin and like it's like a Times Square where it's got the Kingpin like he's given some kind of like address.
yeah, he's a mayor.
Yeah, he's the mayor, but like what's that entail? Like again, it just plays into like the whole cat and mouse game. I mean, season 3 definitely you had a lot of that where again that was from the Born Again story where he's just totally ruining Matt Murdock's life, and he's launching a smear campaign on Daredevil. So I'm kind of curious, like now that he's mayor, like how does that fit into the story for this? Because I can't imagine there's going to like a rinse and repeat of that.
No, it's just basically going to be him. He's a crooked politician with a lot of power, using the levers of power, and Daredevil has to work beneath the law to stop him. Question to William: in the comics nationality, she's Greek.
She's Greek.
Daredevil is Greek,
or Elektra is Greek. Her full name was Elektra Nachios.
Yeah, somebody put that on the chat. Yeah, she is Greek. In fact, it was a Greek ambassador, where he was killed, and that's where her and Daredevil meet. She meets him before he's even Daredevil. And they fall in love and out of love, and then when she sees him again, she's gone through ninja training, and she's kind of ruthless. Read Elektra Assassin if you ever want to, by Frank Miller and Bill Sikowitz.
Yeah.
That is a great painted series by the great Bill Sikowitz, and obviously Frank Miller handles this character. I don't think anyone else has handled, even in the current stuff that they're doing with Daredevil, it's being handled well, but it's not. I don't think you'll ever reach his levels of it. But yeah, she is indeed Greek, Aaron.
I don't know. So anything we didn't touch upon with the trailer though, because again, I'm so psyched for the show. When it comes to not just like like rank. I think I said this when we were like doing our ranking the top 10 most anticipated like movies and shows, individually. When it comes, when you're talking like strictly to superhero stuff, just DC Marvel stuff. Even this being a show, it's not a movie. I still, for me personally, this is my number one for anticipation for anything DC Marvel this year.
Ooh, that's right now. Not for me. FF.
I know for you, it's Fantastic Four. Yeah.
I would anticipate this more than I would anticipate Superman, but not too far off because it's a show and I enjoy shows more. I don't think they need to recast Elektra. I just think they just need to do better with the casting that they do have for her.
Another thing too, also, because again, when they did the overhaul, because this was initially going to be 18 episodes, and I think it's going to be what's supposed to be now 8 or 9, or it's about
half. That fucking pisses me off. By the way.
I was gonna ask your thoughts on that. It's like, yeah, that would have been a pretty epic run.
Hey, meet me in the middle. Meet me in the middle.
Well, because
you got 18.
It was 13. It was it was 13 when it was on Netflix. The individual shows, they all ran 13 episodes. So that was it was definitely meant to like build upon what the Netflix model was. I mean 18. That's pretty damn close to what like a basic cable like fall to early summer a season would be of like 22, 20 episodes.
That's what it really needed to be. What I forgot exactly how she did it. I'm so fixated with the way she did it in the comics, because in the comics it goes way farther. I don't think they didn't do the porn elements in the show, did they?
They didn't do what?
In Karen Page.
They didn't do that, but they had her. They did it. She was a drug addict, and that kind of ruined her relationship with her family.
Yeah, and then as far as her giving Matt Murdock's identity up, that was consistent as they could be.
That was actually that was a really well done episode in season 3. I thought when it just goes back to her past, when she's working at the diner with her family, and they're discovering slowly she has her cocaine addiction, but she's she's trying to make a life for herself outside of outside the small town she's in. She wants to go to college, et cetera, et cetera. And then, long story for anybody who hasn't seen it, so long story short, her drug addiction ends up getting her brother killed, and that kind of leads to her and her father having a pretty bitter parting of ways, and that leads into her role in season 1. So that was I really enjoyed that episode. That was definitely one of the it's a dark show, but it was one of the darkest episodes they ever did. But it really for like as William said, like in Born Again in the comic story, she has a history of doing porn.
Yeah, and they don't, because it's Frank Miller and you don't say no to Frank Miller. That's not something that's in comic books. Porn star and heroin addict is not something that was in the Four Color Fantasies. They kind of showed it, and they would show it in shadow, like her doing a guy and and her sticking the needle up in it. So they were really graphic in the comics. Once again, what are you gonna do? Tell Frank Miller no? He's gonna tell you go fuck himself. Elektra is a bombshell of a woman. No, she is not. No, she is not. No. That was one of her complexes. She had perceived beauty depending on who you were, like Daredevil, but she always considered herself as an awkward, tall, too skinny. She had problems in school. Remember when they first meet? That was her thing. She was awkward, she was awkward and standoffish because she thought she looked like a tall boy with long black hair. And if you look at the way the artists that truly know Elektra that did do her, she's not this exotic, curvy. She's tall, she's skinny, so no, she's not a bombshell.
No, she's a warrior.
Even before that, just her as a student at the when she first, she's just tall, skinny, awkward girl, and that's what she is when she's Elektra. She just has muscles now because she's been trained that way. But no, bombshell is not a term I would use to that actress that they got is perfect. They just didn't do
Lodi Young.
Yeah, they just didn't do what they really needed to do with that character, in my opinion.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't know. Is there any? I think we leave any. I don't think we left any stone unturned so far with the trailer. Again, I'm looking forward to massively to the show. What was it now? Like 6 weeks before it drops. I can't wait to see Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, I'll probably have to. I'm gonna do a watch parties for the for the 3 seasons that we did.
Well, that's we better get started soon because that's gonna take us like how long? Because that's the 3 seasons.
No, we're gonna do multiple episodes and.
Well, but even then, it's like what's that like? 3 seasons. That's what. That's
take us a week.
That's like 49 episodes. Yeah. You want to do like one night at a time or what?
Yeah, we'll probably do. Okay, so leading up, we can probably knock out a marathon in one day on a Saturday somewhere. We could just do a marathon of that. To be honest with you, because we're to familiarize, because we have a lot of viewers that I know that have not watched the show, that had not watched 2 seconds of the show and are not familiarized with the show, and it might be good to bring them along with us for this. It shouldn't take that long. The episodes are 48 minutes.
Yeah, about, but there's 13 per season, so that's 39 episodes all told. That's not even counting Defenders. I know you're not going to want to do
not counting Defenders.
Well, you kind of.
No, I do not.
Feeds. Does it not feed into season 3?
Nope.
Yes, it does.
Not really. Not in ways that will be relevant to this current season.
With the way that season 3 starts is it actively building on the way Defenders ends?
We can explain it for you. We'll do footnotes for you. I'm not sitting to that. But yeah, I don't think it would be that long to those episodes they go pretty quick. Yeah,
so but we probably ought to get started on that relatively soon. Just give us as much runway as we can between now and this is going to be dropping like weekly on Disney Plus, right? When it gets here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's over the course of 9 weeks. So that'll be like feeding right into about May, or shouldn't it?
Yeah,
like Born Again, like once Born Again wraps up, that's early May.
Probably is going to wrap up right as Thunderbolts and all the No, Thunderbolts is the 14th. No, Captain America: Winter Soldier is the 14th. When is Thunderbolts?
No, that's
actually in May.
That's in May. That's a summer kickoff. Yeah.
There you go. I think this is going to roll right into May, but I'll have to look at.
They might do a thing kind of like what they did with Creature Commandos. It's a different company, obviously, but where they might invert that, or they say, okay, or like what they did, with the beginning of Superman and Lois, we're going to put out our first 2 episodes. The beginning of the season, we might put our last 2 episodes, just to kind of if there is any kind of overlap they don't want to have, if they might want to have Daredevil wrapped up by the time the Thunderbolt starts, they the weekend before, they might put out 2 in that same weekend.
What else is new, Joga? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
White Tiger. Yeah, you brought up White Tiger. What is your question about White Tiger?
Which, by the way, I can't see. I can basically see with this on, but I can't read the comments unless I really lean into the screen, guys. So that's why I'm kind of doing this.
What is your question about White Tiger, Joga? I would say no to Frank Miller. You know what?
No, he says not Frank. No, come on.
I'm trying to see what he's trying to say. I'm missing his comment, but it just seems like he's saying White Tiger. Okay. What is your question about White Tiger? What do you need to know? But once again, like I said, I don't think it will take that long. I think if we started maybe a month before, we'd be fine.
Okay.
We wanted to go rewatch that whole thing.
Yeah, because it's 30 between those 3 seasons, 39 episodes. So if we did 2 at a time or 3 at a time, something like that.
Yeah, I think we would be fine. Plus, like I said, you could spend a day getting like 2 Saturdays and get 2 major chunks of that out of the way. So, all right, he was in the trailer for a second. What do we know about him?
A White Tiger.
Female, but yeah, this is the male one. Yeah, this is the male White Tiger. Let me bring him up.
Yeah.
I think the White Tiger that they're using in here. I'm surprised that they're really using that character.
Kind of bringing it back to Bullseye too in season 3, because you kind of laid out a few other things that you didn't like about his portrayal in season. It was mainly like the FBI, because he's a little bit like, maybe he's not familiar with Daredevil and Bullseye. Bullseye is somewhat a little bit like the Joker in the sense that there's not his backstory is kept pretty vague. Dex is not his real name in the comics. And he's not an FBI agent, so that was definitely a retcon for the show. But one thing, what were your thoughts on just him? That Bullseye, that he was wearing the red Daredevil suit throughout, like that was his suit. Like, was that like it? Well, because I thought, that's like that gave you like a pretty good setup for his proper suit. Just cut off the horns, paint it blue, Bullseye on the forehead. There you go.
Like I said, I just hope they do better. That's all. Here you go. This is the White Tiger. This is the one I think they're going to be using in the
some Deadly Hands of Kung Fu.
Yeah, this is a hero. I think Hector Ayala, and there he is in the show. So he's got a history. I don't know exactly which one that they're using because they don't even have to do. They can make they could create their own White Tiger just for this show.
Yeah. Well, again, they create a whole new backstory for Bullseye. So yeah, maybe they might retcon some things about White.
Oh, I never heard about that. Did you ever hear about that? I didn't know Jenna Ortega.
I thought Jenna Ortega was. I was not. No, I. That's news to me. Yeah,
that's the Daredevil talk.
Well, real quick, it's like I think I mentioned this on the show the other night. There was Statham, Jason Statham, between when Marvel got the rights to Daredevil back when Fox still had them, and Fox, during that time was contemplating doing a Daredevil reboot. Jason Statham publicly came out and said "Oh, I'd love to be Daredevil," and he actually got the backing of Frank Miller. And then for season 3, there was, again, I don't know how much truth there is to this, but there was a rumor that he was in talks to be Bullseye for season 3. So I don't know which ones you, if you had to pick those 2 characters, which one did you see Jason Statham better fitting
between
Daredevil and Bullseye? I personally could see him probably because he hasn't played a huge amount of villains yet, but that could be pretty cool. Really see him just completely take the gloves off and just be a total villain.
Yeah, guys. When it comes to White Tiger, they're probably going to do a composite. It's probably not going to be any one. It's probably going to be a composite of what they did, kind of like what they did with Clayface. Earlier on, they used versions of Clayface that were pre-existing and mixed them with several other ones to make their composite one. I don't know enough about I don't know enough about the this one coming up on the show to tell you who it is, and until I hear a name, we'll probably have to wait till the show. I don't think he's going to be a major part of the show, but he's going to be there.
Maybe just set up for a season 2. I did not see this, Aaron, but thank you for bringing it to my attention. That's unfortunate, but also it's considering the tragedy. With Jason David Frank, they were. they're dealing with it. It's like, yeah, that is understandable. So we're definitely going to be talking about it extensively and covering it and reviewing it on the show here once it's released. I definitely look forward to seeing it because one last hurrah with Jason Frank. I mean, it sucks that it's what we do on here, promoting suicide prevention. It just that was so heartbreaking, but I'm grateful. We will get one more adventure with him, and just in his full Power Rangers it's persona. I'm looking forward to seeing it very much.
All right, so when it comes to the actor who played White Tiger, he did pass away. Kamar de los Reyes, Born Again is a posthumous release for Kamar de los Reyes, as he is not with us anymore.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, Born Again actor already spoiled. Let's see, hold on. The death of White Tiger, actor from Daredevil Born Again. Let's see. I didn't know that either. Let's see. He recently held a D20 at the recently held D23 event, the series first trailer about Hector Ayala. It is a Hector Ayala, the original White Tiger, will be seen in the show. So there you go. However, Kamar de los Reyes, the actor cast for this role, passed away last year. Does this mean that Ava Ayala, his fifth carnation, could take the mantle, and that will make her MCD? They don't answer that. So more than likely, they'll probably just recast him. Yeah, I think I think they would just probably recast him. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for the Daredevil talk. Probably going to give the show another 4 minutes or so before I go off to eat and take my Theraflu because I'm coming down with something. It doesn't tell me what he died of. At least not here on the cause of death. Let's look up cause of death. Not that it matters, but let's see. Hey, yeah, you guys are right. Come on. Los Reyes, who is cast as White Tiger in the Disney Plus series Daredevil Born Again, died from cancer in Los Angeles on Christmas Eve, 2023.
Oh man! Okay, that was, and that wasn't this past Christmas.
No, he's been gone for a year. He was 56 years old.
Oh man, that sucks.
So I think if that character is still what they want to use, they'll probably recast him.
Yeah,
but I don't know if they would use the other one. His character might not only be around for a year. Who knows? I'll have to see the show. So,
I mean, I could see them again with him being more of a peripheral villain. This might be like a backdoor pilot for like him being a the main antagonist in season 2.
I think those trailers are misleading. I don't think he's going to be that big a part, to be honest with you.
You don't think so?
No, I think that the trailer is making you look like that. I think there are other things in there.
He's gonna be like Shocker and Spider-Man Homecoming, basically.
Pretty much. I mean, he's going to be there. He'll be a part, but I think the main tool that the Kingpin is going to use is yet to be revealed. And that's the way it should be. I should find out while I'm watching the show.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I haven't had any demand for it, so I'm not gonna. If I get demand for something like that, then I'll bring it. But
I didn't even know that was a thing. Sonic versus DC Comics.
I didn't see it on my solicitation, but Sonic, yeah.
William had a really good kind of. He really made me laugh last night. We were talking about Atomic Blonde, and I mentioned there was like some the behind the scenes chatter, like, oh, would it be cool if we crossed over John Wick? And he just went off on like how much he doesn't like that idea.
Not into the whole crossover thing. Let's respect the individuality of each particular project and leave it at that.
And that was something he made clear too. And as he made clear a lot is you're not big on crossovers in and of themselves.
I think they're acts of desperation, and right now nobody in those franchises are desperate. I think if you did Atomic Blonde, it would do just as good as it did, if not better than the first one. And you've already seen John Wick can turn out money. I think the best thing for John Wick is to turn out spinoffs within its own religion, like they're doing, and I think that's where they should leave that. So,
they got Ballerina, they got Kane, they already had Continental.
I didn't enjoy that. I thought
Yeah.
I was going to enjoy
Oh,
that bored
I
me.
did.
That bored my
I
eyeballs out of my socket.
I
Man.
had a lot of fun with Continental. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I am so deeply invested in the John Wick universe, at this
Yeah,
point. So
that kind of like I couldn't even see like, you know what. All right, cool. All right, guys. I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up. I don't think anybody has anything beyond.
yeah, I think the only question.
I don't feel anything about that.
What was that? 'Cause-
The Joe. Well, they've been doing that since the beginning, though. GI Joe and Transformers, and it never
okay.
really stuck for me. So
Okay, because like I said, as long as I got this on, I have to really lean into like read comments right now.
yeah, it's
Uh,
kind of. All right,
who do you?
guys. Go good.
Oh, Aaron had one. Who do you think will win a fight, Batman or Daredevil?
Daredevil.
You think so?
Oh, well, unless Daredevil found. I mean, I did just your Daredevil. It's be a draw. It depends on who writes it.
That's a really. I mean, and that's the two of them. It's like I've always kind of had this idea in my head. Like if you could like, and actually I'll put this to you, William, as maybe like a kind of a good closing topic for tonight. If you could take like one character from DC, one character from Marvel, and like swap them, like in there, like swap them from each other's universes, like pick one from one universe and trade which universe they occupy. Which ones would you think will like make the best trade? I kind of always saw like Batman and Daredevil could kind of like take each other's place relatively well.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I never really thought about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know why it's like that just kind of occurred to me. Actually, kind of occurred to me really. I think around the time when Daredevil came on Netflix, it's like if you could trade one character from DC, one character from Marvel, and just like flip which universe each of them lives in, which transition would be the most seamless?
I'd have to think about that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I don't know if that's veering too much in like the whole crossover Marvel versus DC thing that you hate so much, but just
like I said, I paid the price for Marvel versus
Mhm.
DC. You guys look at it as it's a cute thing that you can look back on. I actually endured that shit. So there's a difference between what you guys look back in retrospect and think is cool and what I actually endured, and it was not good. All right, no, it's not early. It's one. Yeah, we've been on the air for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah. And then
all right, guys.
And talking about how awesome this trailer is, because the show can't wait for it. Can't wait for it.
I will see you tomorrow night. Don't know what the topics are going to be. I might come up with a listing of favorite whatever or best whatever. Who knows?
Yeah.
From one and all. But like I said, I like these days I haven't been planning them because I've been otherwise disposed. My mind has been in other places right now. So you get what you get from me when it comes to the YouTube world, guys. So until then, I will see you guys tomorrow night.
There, guys.